and welcome to another edition of the Security Visionaries podcast. I'm Emily Wearmouth, one of the hosts, and I've got a really great episode for you today. My guest is Samantha Swift, whose LinkedIn will tell you is a disaster junkie, a revolutionary, and a top 30 female cybersecurity leader. She's my kind of woman, if I'm honest. For the purposes of this conversation, alongside all of that, she's also one of the organising team for BSides Newcastle, BSides Leeds, and BSides Lancashire. And she was also one of the volunteers who was involved in CSIDES, whose inaugural event took place just 3 days ago in Weston-super-Mare in the UK. And we're going to find out a little bit more about that one as we chat, because I think some of our listeners may be familiar with BSides, but perhaps less so with CSIDES. Welcome to the podcast, Sam.
Thank you, Emily. It's lovely to be here.
So I'm going to start us off. Can you give us a bit of a 1-minute pitch on BSides, first of all? What is BSides?
I always start with Las Vegas, because why not? So BSides came about because during what's lovingly known as Hacker Summer Camp, which is Black Hat and DefCon and lots of other side cons now, there were so many good talks submitted and not enough space and time to put them on. So some folks in the US decided that it was a good idea to have a B-side, to kind of the A-side, like a record. And BSides Vegas was born. And then from that, to call it a franchise would be probably too much. But there is a whole community of B-sideses around the world. There's been over 1,000 now.
Really? 1,000 events or 1,000 locations?
1,000 events.
Wow.
So Vegas is the like the first one and still happens and is amazing. And then there are new ones popping up all the time. I think per capita, UK's probably got the most because we seem to have loads. But yeah, it's a community-driven concept. Really great talks aimed at all sorts of levels. Low barrier to entry as well. It's not crazy expensive to get in. And it's funded mostly through sponsorship and a little bit through ticket sales, although some of them are completely free, but mostly most do charge some sort of fee on top. But it's great. A really good way to get people interested in cyber, to help people cross-train, to up your skills. And you see everyone there from students to CISOs and everything in between.
Right. Okay. Well, very much people in the industry or looking to get into the industry.
Yeah, and people coming in. I mean, we had people, I've just recently done BSides Newcastle, and we had people just bringing their friends along who were kind of cyber curious, I guess.
Oh,
so which is good because, yeah, there's always a bit of everything for everyone, really. When people come and they say, oh, it's my first time, there's generally villages, so little areas where you can go and learn things, hands-on for the most part. And there tends to be lock-picking at quite a lot of them. So if you don't know what to do at BSides, first thing everyone says is go and learn to pick a lock. Maybe learn how to get out of handcuffs for reasons.
Cyber curious is sounding more and more niche, but keep talking. And now what about CSIDES? Because CSIDES is a little bit different, isn't it?
Yes. I don't say like I feel like a fraud talking about CSIDES because I'm not. I've been involved in the background. I wasn't at the event, which is I'm sad about because...
Tell the listeners, Sam, why you weren't at the event.
I live miles away for a start, and I've just started a new job. So one of my two reasons for not being there. But I spent my very, very small youth on the beach at Weston-super-Mare, which is where the first CSIDES was. CSIDES is awesome. So Hazel, Jem, Nikki, there's loads of people on that team who have been kind of spearheading this movement. The idea behind it is to bring cybersecurity knowledge, careers, and more to coastal towns. So the first one's been in Weston-super-Mare, but there are absolutely plans to take it kind of on tour and not be the same people every time doing it.
Right.
So it was a one-day event. It was on Weston-super-Mare Pier, which, again, my little me has spent loads of time on. It's very sad that she missed. But yeah, lots of different types of talks, things for small businesses, things for people looking at getting into cyber for a career, even Cyber's Got Talent. And I think they also had some of the rides on the pier for an hour as well that were just for CSIDES, which is very cool. And amazing badges.
I heard about the badges. Tell us about the badges.
Badges are super cool. So a big shout out to Punk Security. Simon and Melissa, who are big supporters of community events. They have provided badges for a bunch of events recently. Last year we had them for Newcastle, and this year. CSIDES got a crab. Very cool. And they generally have some sort of interactivity going on. So there's a puzzle to do, or there's some sort of, a capture the flag type thing. But yeah, there's always something you can do with the badge other than just hang it around your neck and write your name on it. Actually, I'm gonna grab my BSides Newcastle badge from behind me. Which, if you're listening,
I can see it flashing.
it is flashing.
So describe it. It's sort of a disc hanging on a purple lanyard, and
Yes.
I think it looks like a picture of a satellite, and there's some flashing lights. Is that right?
It's the Angel of the North as a satellite.
Oh, yes, I can see it
cool.
now. Yeah.
Yeah. And this one had like a Morse code puzzle in it. So on the back, there is a button, and you have to tap in things with Morse code to unlock the badge, and then different light patterns would happen, and then by the end of it was all like flashing like Piccadilly Circus. So
That
very,
is
very cool.
Very
yes,
nice.
I love it. Love a good badge. And a little space to write name as well. It's important.
When I said tell the listeners why you weren't there, what I was getting at was the fact that Sam and I were talking before we hit the record button about the fact that we do live in the UK, but we live in the most landlocked counties. So CSIDES is almost distressingly distant from our landlocked counties, but we will get to one. We'll get to another one in future, won't we?
Yes, very much so. Where I am pretty 2.5 hours from any beach.
Yeah, sad, isn't it? Sad.
Yes.
So you obviously, 3 northern B-sides that you're heavily involved in, and clearly behind the scenes in other things. Why are you spending your time on this? You are a very busy lady with a job.
Yes.
What do you get out of spending your time on these events?
I love it. I'm a serial volunteer as well. So even events I'm not organising, I can't just go to something. It feels really weird. I generally get confused and like either run away to the pub or
start organising the coffee cups on the table.
Yeah, just trying to figure out what we're doing next. I'll get pulled into helping. That's happened before as well. So, while you're here, can you just, I love it. I think being able to inspire people, help them learn, it's a really good environment for people to network, to make new friends, and to get involved or improve what they can do in this industry that I love so much.
Does it have any professional benefits for you?
I think the skills I can take from my career, which has been very weird and wonderful, that have kind of moved into this. I mean, just in general organisation stuff. I've been heavily involved, especially with Newcastle and Leeds to a point, on the call for papers side. Mm-hmm. So for Newcastle, I own that. And then for Leeds, we kind of just do it all together, and same for Lancs. So I love that part of it as well. It's like not just reviewing the talks that come in. We've got slightly different guidelines depending on which event it is as to how that all works. But being able to promote diversity across all the different streams of diversity within those events is a real joy. And I think that's a good way to help inspire people, because there's a whole you can't be what you can't see idea. It's important to demonstrate not just great talks and great content, but amazing people, and give people opportunities to come and speak as well. So we offer mentorship as part of that too. So if people do have something they want to talk about, but they're terrified of getting on a stage, we can help them get to where they need to be.
That's very cool. I'm just wondering, when I compare BSides alongside other events, RSA, GISEC, InfoSec, and they've all got call for papers, speakers. You might not see yourselves as competing with them, but if I've got money for a ticket, arguably you are, why would someone come to a BSides instead of those?
I think it's the community feel is the first piece. They're super friendly. We've had people turn up who are, brand new, and there's a lot of neurodiversity in cyber as well, I think. So, for people to walk into a gigantic event like an RSA or something, it's super overwhelming. So we're smaller, so there's that. People are super friendly. It's done out of love. No one does a BSides for profit. We do it because we want to. And so that's super important. You're not going to have a million vendors trying to jump down your throat as well, which is nice. It's the support we get from sponsors is hugely important. And there's different reasons that people sponsor BSides. Can be that they're looking to hire people. Can be they just want to give back to the community. It can be that they're looking for brand awareness within the community. It can be that they just know that those events are really, really good, and actually they'll have better conversations with people who know that their details aren't being sold on just by virtue of them turning up. If you want to give your details over to a vendor while you're there, you can. But it's not, I've turned up now, I'm going to get bombarded with a million emails the second I set my foot outside the door.
Yeah.
So there's lots of reasons. And good swag is always another as well. So
the swag does seem enviable. I have to say. I'm jealous of the swag. Now, while we're talking about other events, I've got a decent sized network in Australia because I used to work over there, and I've watched over the last couple of weeks a little bit of a kerfuffle on LinkedIn around South by Southwest Sydney, and the criticism, I guess, that's being levelled at the event is it gets quite a lot of public sector funding, government funding, because the plan is building a community within Australia that is around innovation and creativity and technology and helping that community meet each other and innovate. But it's a for-profit company with extremely high ticket prices, and the argument is being made that actually its presence and its huge brand is driving some of the smaller events that are being run and founded by local Australian community members are sort of being pushed to the sidelines. Do you, and I know you're not in Australia and this isn't about your events, but does anything in that resonate for you as to how you see where BSides sits?
Yeah, my immediate reaction is visceral. Not gonna lie. I remember when, because South by Southwest did one in London fairly recently as well. And I was like, okay, that looks cool. Because like the Austin one, I've got friends who've been to that and they're like, oh, it's amazing, got to go.
It definitely looks cool.
It does look really cool,
Yeah.
but it's really expensive.
Yeah.
And that goes against the whole kind of community ethos, especially if they're getting government money as well. That's making my skin crawl, frankly. That's a shame because, in some cases, your business might sponsor you to go, for example. And that's cool. But then if your company's sponsoring you to go, you've already got a job.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. What about the people who are like, curious? What about the people who work for small businesses who can't afford, the ticket prices that they charge? It doesn't sit right with me at all.
So what can events do to, you're going to have a ticket price. There's certain costs you want to cover. Also, we were talking a little bit earlier, if it doesn't have a value, if there is no price on that ticket, then you were saying you tend to get more dropouts and that there needs to be some sort of price threshold to stop that happening.
Yeah, we charge very little for the BSides I'm involved with. I mean, like, £10, £15.
Okay, very little. Yeah. My train ticket would cost a whole lot more.
Yeah, exactly. And for that, you get food thrown in. You'll get some sort of swag with generally a T-shirt or something. We've done all manner of wild and wonderful things at BSides Newcastle. We had aprons one year.
Oh,
it was like a shopkeepers convention. It's very cool.
Was the food very messy that year? Was that?
I don't know why we went down that route, but they're very cool. It's high enough in my kitchen, so there you go. Good swag stays in your kitchen. But yeah, you generally get some stuff. You'll get fed for the most part, and very, very commonly, like student tickets are free. So there'll be a limited number of student tickets. But if everything's free, and we found this happened before, is that people won't tell you they're not going to come because I haven't spent any money. It doesn't really matter. Whatever. Oh no, things happen. I mean, for people who work in cybersecurity,
things happen.
Things happen all the time as well. So and that's without life stuff getting in the way. But if you've charged, we run a refund policy up to a week before because there's certain things we have to order in, like food, things that are, last minute numbers. But yeah, if you can't come, and even then, like there's case by case basis for a lot of them anyway, then you're going to let the event know. And if there's a wait list running, which is common they are, I mean, for Leeds, we had a huge wait list this year.
What was the capacity for Leeds and how oversubscribed were you?
I feel like we're 250, 300. I don't want to get smacked by the health and safety police. But yeah, we have a really nice building that we've used every year, and it's part of the university, so it's a nice old building.
Yeah,
the waitlist was up to about 100, I think, at one point last year. It's crazy. So it's always good. I think generally, if you're not going to go to an event, it's good to let people know you're not coming. Yeah, people tend to do that more if they've at least parted with something.
Yeah, that's interesting how you price it. But so you subsidise students, to come and join in.
And we have a pay it forward scheme as well, which is...
What's that?
So people can buy a ticket for someone else. They don't know who it is.
Oh, I like that. It's like in cafes, you can buy a coffee for the next person that comes in and things, can't you? Yeah.
I like to see that happen more and more. Hack Glasgow as well, they do a really nice pay it forward scheme. So BSides, you do see it more often as well. So it's a nice thing because not everybody's in a position where they can afford it. They might not be a student, but they might be between jobs or they might have other stuff going on. So keeping that barrier to entry really low is super important. So yeah, we most of it is funded through sponsors for us. But then the ticket price thing, not everything gets covered, especially BSides Newcastle. We run on a shoestring of shoestrings.
You can tie a bow with such a short piece of string.
How much stuff from Costco can go in my car?
It works. I'm just thinking, I've been mentoring a woman in tech based out in India recently. And one of the things that we were trying to help her with is building a network for herself. And what didn't help were big annual, massive exhibition conference types events. But what it feels like might help her is this sort of thing where it's very hyper local, I guess you'd say, and designed for building personal networks. It's more a personalized experience rather than just you rock up and you're the audience. Is that a accurate assessment of how the event could be useful?
Yeah, massively so. A lot of the events will have some sort of like ongoing way of communicating as well. Like a lot of people will use Discord as an example. So you can stay connected throughout the year, and it's not just you turn up, there's a bunch of people that you see, you might say hello to a few people and you might do some linking in, but then that's it, and then you might see them again next year. So there's ongoing chatter, which is good. But yeah, I've 100%. I mean, walking into even somewhere like InfoSec, which is not, not anywhere near as big as an RSA, it's still a lot. And if the first thing you see is vendors jumping out at you, being very lovely and friendly, and I've worked in vendors my whole life.
Very lovely and friendly, but
part of the problem. But yeah, if you're, if you're very new to it and you just want to meet some people, it's hard to do that if there isn't somewhere where you can go and sit and learn. And that's why the villages are always really good, because you can go and get hands on. And DefCon has, which is a big, like the biggest hacker conference in the world. They run on, there's a load of villages. Like it's one big conference, but it's loads of mini conferences within
like
itself
Milton
as well.
Keynes. For our British listeners will understand the Milton Keynes reference. It might not play internationally. A town made of many villages.
I think we need more roundabouts at DefCon. I'm going to suggest that because I have enough to do. I also it's called. I'm giggling because Gen Z have appropriated the word. I goon at DefCon.
I don't even want to know what Gen Z, I'm going to say Z, have done with that word. But tell me what it means to you.
It's a volunteer.
Okay.
Basically. So I'm on the SOC team. So basically, we're responsible for the physical kind of safety security side of people at DefCon. So I work.
And that's a volunteer team.
Yes. Yeah. There's a lot of volunteers that work behind the scenes at DefCon. There's hundreds of us.
How fascinating.
It's a team that I work on basically when everyone's in the evening going out and having fun at the parties and stuff that happen within the event. We make sure that they're having fun and they find their friends. And if anything goes wrong, then we can get them some help.
Wow. That's very cool. I hadn't even thought about that.
It stops me going full Vegas as well.
That's always a good thing. Very wise. Yeah. So if you're, I know that there's a lot of CISOs that come to these events and very senior execs. How do you work out the different things people are looking for? If you're a student or cyber curious and you're a CISO and then you're everyone in between, surely what they're looking to get out of the event is very diverse. How do you cater to all of those crowds? And how, if you're listening and you're a security leader, why would you feel that this is for you and not something just for your team?
Yeah. So
I shouldn't have said just for your team, because for your team is hugely valuable, but you know what I mean?
And a lot of CISOs make a big effort to send their teams as well, which is great because they know the value behind it. So you get many different people. You get CISOs who've kind of always had their hand in technically, and they will be coming along to learn stuff, amongst other things. Sometimes it's networking. Sometimes they're looking for the next hires. But when you're trying to get the agenda and the kind of program together of the different things, getting the balance right of the different kind of technical levels, the topics, because everyone, a lot of students, not everyone, a lot of students, when you talk to them, like they want to go and be penetration testers, they want to break stuff for money.
Yeah.
And not often is it explained like the full variety of careers that are available, like within cyber. So many. So when we do, the call for papers, that's one part of putting the agenda together. It's not just the agenda for the ones that I work on. We also invite in keynote speakers. So we've been really lucky with some of the ones I've done. We've had amazing speakers come over from the States. We've had great people from the UK. Jenny Radcliffe opened our first BSides Newcastle,
Wow.
which was in a skate park. So Jenny Radcliffe in a half pipe was just, it was quite something. And then Ian Thornton Trump closed it down. By that point, we'd lost all lighting and it was in the dark. So from Jenny Radcliffe in the morning to Ian Thornton Trump at night in the dark and half pipe. Yeah.
I mean, we all learn as we go.
Yeah, totally normal.
For those who don't know, Jenny Radcliffe is the burglar for hire or social engineer. She's known as the people hacker. Ian Thornton Trump is a CISO, and he's a talking head who appears at a lot of events representing our industry.
So, I mean, for BSides Newcastle, we had a lovely friend of mine, Kat Fitzgerald, came over. It's the second time she's come over and done a keynote for us, talking about cloud security. But she's also done stuff about home labs and about just general career stuff. So she's done lots of different talks, but it's absolutely getting that balance. We had a lot of AI related submissions this year for obvious reasons because everything.
Did you get any that weren't out of interest?
Yes, we did.
I'd have given top billing to whoever managed to do their submission without using AI references at any point.
There was a lot. There were some really good ones as well.
Yeah,
but we had everything from the guy talking about like how money laundering works behind the scenes. Not that you should get involved in money laundering, but how that sits and kind of funds a lot of, because cybercrime is one part of a wider criminal kind of enterprise in a lot of cases. So it's talking about that. We had a guy come and do a Lego serious play workshop, which how cool is that?
You have me at Lego. Is there an
right?
objective to a Lego serious play workshop, or is it just we're going to play?
It was so cool. So a guy called Phil Veal. So thank you, Phil, for coming over. We had a really good prep call. He talked about he's not a cybersecurity person at all. He's a Lego serious play person, and you have to be certified to come do this stuff. Turns up with a giant box of Lego. We'd worked through some kind of scenarios for him to talk to people about. They take out all of the minifigures to start with. So you have to build. You can't just put people in a situation and go, ta-da. And he will come up with things like, you're basically building something that talks to like a perfect security operations team. And then you've got to build that, but you haven't got people to build it with.
I've found a trap, Sam. You've removed the people, and don't cybersecurity experts get criticised for not putting people center when it comes to building their security? And you've done that. You've removed the minifigures.
We have. They can still build people, but they have to make them themselves.
That's true.
They
Okay.
Work harder. Think about the people you're building.
Like the 70s and 80s Lego minifigures that you had to actually build yourself.
Yeah. So but things like that are really cool. So that, again, you don't need to be able to understand reams of code to be able to go to that session.
Yeah. It sounds like a really good value. Like you could spend an awful lot of effort building a training day for your team, or you could just send them to this. And it sounds very holistic in the different skills and opportunities that they can pick up.
There's so much. There are people there showing their new cool 0 day they've put together, and there's a lot of code then passed on a screen, and the good ones will tell you actually what you need to do about it at the end, not just like, I've written this, go me. And then the next thing could be talking about building an insider threat program.
Is there? This sounds hugely useful. And we know that for national security, organizational security is critical, and there's a big drive by governments around the world to up-level standards within organizations. Do events like this get any sort of interaction with governments and policymakers? And I'm going to leave funding in very small text at the end of that sentence, because I think the previous answers might be no. But, is there any interaction with those big policy conversations?
Yes and no. So some of them will have policy. So DefCon, for instance, has an entire policy village, which is really cool. And there are people within the community that get involved in policy. A lovely friend of mine, Jen Ellis, she does a lot with both the US government and the UK government. She did something called Hackers in the House. There's Hackers on the Hill that happens in the US, Hackers in the House-ish. Last year, it was freezing cold. It was just before Christmas, where she got a bunch of people from the community which Jen was the first person to take me to a BSides. I don't know if she knows this. Yeah, I went to BSides.
Well, she does now.
And she knew everyone, and I was a little bit terrified. because it was they didn't seem like the cool kids, but it was like it was the nerds. And I'm like, I'm the person from the vendor. I'm like, do I know anything? And everyone was lovely. It was amazing. That was like literally the light bulb moment for me. Yeah, Jen does a lot with governments and policymakers. So she got a lot of people from the community to come and meet with them just before Christmas. And there's another one she's working on at the moment. So there are pockets for sure. There is some sponsorship that goes on and some linkage with governments or like parts of governments, not like, the government as a big capitalized thing. Like to Newcastle, we're involved with something called Cyber North, which is a much bigger initiative that they have a thing that runs through the whole of September. And it covers so many different things.
These sorts of community events are filling a very useful purpose within the wider defence team for a nation.
Yeah, absolutely. And even on a granular local level as well, like a lot of these events are held at universities, not all of them, but the universities will like help with discounted rates and things to help the events go off, which is good. So you can kind of call that sponsorship. And we've had secret speakers come to a bunch of different events.
Do they like their martini shaken, not stirred? Is it that sort of
very much?
Speaker?
Yeah, I'm going to say that. Yeah, absolutely.
That's cool.
And then one of them did the conga. I was leading the conga at Lancs, which I was very pleased about because
it's a very different character to what I pictured there.
But yeah, we do get speakers come in who have amazing jobs within government and just are hugely fascinating to listen to, but they can't stick their name on an agenda because of who they are and what they do. So
wow,
there is definite crossover, and right up to the DefCon events, there's absolutely tie-in, and people coming along. We've had all sorts of people turn up at DefCon. Elon Musk turned up one year, unannounced. Yeah,
interesting. So was he not speaking? Was he just a guest?
No,
a visitor.
He just turned up in the car hacking village and stood on stage and basically went, "I'll give you access to my code. Come and hack it. I'd love you to."
Oh wow!
This is before he went full Elon. I think
early Elon.
Regardless of what your opinion is of Elon Musk, he's a different man now. I feel. Well, maybe he's not. Maybe he's always that one.
Who knows? I have no personal experience to chime in with an opinion.
And I was the wrong side of DefCon at that point, and I couldn't get to it. But the rumor was like, "My God, Elon Musk's here!" And then all of a sudden,
it shows though that it's attracting people who are right in the heart of the industry and making things happen. So it's a win.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. We had Dead Mouse last year, very similar.
I've got a question though. You said when you were talking about your first BSides that you were a little bit nervous that it might be cliquey, and that was one of my fears. I see a lot of these community events talked about on LinkedIn because there's clearly networks people who already know each other and love it, and it's always very wholesome and positive. But if you're on the outside, it can feel like I don't want to. But it doesn't matter how big the event is. Walking into a room where everyone else already knows each other is very daunting. So, is there anything that either you do at your events or anyone else who's hosting one of these events could think to do that would help make it more welcoming to the newbie?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's funny, isn't it? I mean, I've been in cybersecurity for years at that point as well. But like BSides was always this cool thing that was happening. It used to be the London one was always on the same time as InfoSec, when InfoSec was over on the west side of London. And it's changed now because InfoSec moved and now BSides London is December time. So
I thought you can say the BSides crowd's too cool to go to Excel.
I think so. No, don't get on the Lizzie line. But I did assume everyone would know each other. I mean, Jen knew everybody, and then she introduced me to a bunch of people who were all lovely. So I mean, it was lovely. Yeah, just take Jen with you, I think.
That's the answer.
Yeah, we'll just hire her out as a professional introducer to people.
Or have you seen someone walk into a room like that doesn't know anybody and just done a absolutely perfect, confident opener to join into a group conversation? Or what's your almost like pickup line, I suppose, that you would recommend walking into a BSides with? So
just to flip that around a minute. So we did this thing at Leeds, and I don't know if this came from the previous Leeds team, because there's been a couple of people teams that have run Leeds. And it's called the Pac-Man. And it's we mention it in the slides, and we mention it in the program as well. So it's if you're stood in a circle of people, leave a space. So it's basically like a Pac-Man.
An invitation, yeah.
Yeah, and that way there's room for someone to come in.
Nice.
And if someone does come in, you've got to leave more of a space, and eventually you end up with a huge circle. But I think that's a really nice thought process. And people do tend to be super friendly. So if I was going and I didn't know anybody, where would I go other than panic and go to the pub? Uh, go to lockpicking. It always comes back to that.
Okay.
There's often, and there's other places you can go to as well. So a lot of the times there's like a charity sticker store, which is good because InfoSec runs on stickers for sure. And then there's generally it's a charity that is something to do with either the local area or the people that run it. For instance, we did the Bumble Foundation at Newcastle this year, which is a charity for families who have children with like serious immune issues. So they basically go onto this ward at one of the hospitals in Newcastle, and then you have basically a bubble. And my daughter and my friend's daughter, who's one of the co-organisers, basically sit on the sticker stall and blag people. Well, the people want to come buy stickers anyway, and then they're trapped by children. So we raised like nearly £1,500, which is really cool. They kids did it. They were too bad.
They're good. You could get them in sales, and they'll go
far.
They
should do. But yeah, so this is the thing. There are always places I think you can go and sit down and talk to somebody. There'll be somebody who wants to show you something. It might be lockpicking. We've had like a retro village where there's loads of like old games and stuff to play with. People like brought their creaking 80s equipment along. There was one guy who had a BBC, I think it was a BBC, it was a bit, I can't remember, a BBC B maybe, that he got to, there was a camera, and he got it to load up like a picture of you that it took on the very old screen.
Wow.
From, the beginning of time, pretty much.
I was reminiscing about my school BBC computer the other day. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's the thing is if you're not comfortable walking up and just starting to talk to somebody who's just stood there, who may also be thinking, maybe someone will come and talk to me, or I don't know how to go and start a conversation, then look towards the villages and see what way you can go and sit down. And generally people are there to explain to you whatever it is they're doing. And then you can get chatting to people.
And I love the Pac-Man thing. So sometimes it can work to your advantage if you're the one already in the group, when you're a bit stuck. And if you just edge out and make a little space, then someone can come in and rescue you. I quite like that. I'm going to think about Pac-Man next time. Well, it sounds like I need to come to a BSides because, confession, listener, I've never been to a BSides. I've watched them on my LinkedIn, and I've been worried about that cliquiness, and that's like I'm an outsider thing. So you have put my fears to rest, and I'm gonna hit the train with a more expensive ticket. And if there's a London one, that's even easier.
Yeah, you should come to London. It's 13th of December.
Okie doke, I'll get it in my diary.
Yes, come along. But yeah, there are so many. If you Google Security BSides, there's a centralized website that's got them all on there, and they're all over the world. So no matter where you're listening right now or indeed watching, there will be a BSide somewhere in your vicinity. And if there's not, you can start one. So there's details on that and how you can start your own as well, which is really cool.
Fabulous. And they're, just to clarify, they're not for profit, or is there a
not for profit?
Not for profit. Marvelous.
There is a small amount of rules you have to adhere to. You basically go and talk to Central Command. That's not the actual name of it, but we'll call it that.
Sounds cooler.
So basically you go and you say when you want to do it. It's ideal that you don't cross over with one that's nearby. So that's why it's good to be able to see the list. And then, there are some rules around kind of how to do it. Some help there. If you do have problems, there has been a few times where we've had to talk back to kind of central BSides to just ask them for advice on things. They're amazing. But yeah, so I mean, BSides Alaska did one fairly recently, and I think they had, I'm going to get the numbers wrong, I think it's something like 47 speakers and 18 attendees beyond that, and that was their first one.
Oh,
and it was lovely. And yeah, it's just, you don't have to think you're going to run a 3,000 people conference.
Do you know what I like about that is, why do we feel like there needs to be more attendees than speakers? If you've got a floor that everybody's adding value to, arguably you could have the same number of attendees as speakers, and that's the most valuable event ever. Everybody gets to share their knowledge. Yeah,
and this is it. Speakers do tend to, they're there to learn as well. So they'll go to each other's talks, go to everyone's talks. That people want to. Often you get grabbed as you come off stage, and people want to have a chat. So yeah, it's not just you come and you do your talk and you leave. Community is key.
Brilliant. And we've talked more about BSides and CSIDES because obviously we've been behind the scenes but didn't get to go to the CSIDES event. But I think widely it's probably worth saying BSides is one flavour of a whole load of different community events that can benefit from the cyber security industry and also benefit the cybersecurity industry. And it's well worth having a look to see what you've got. My big thing is in your local area, that you can build a network actually where you live, because we don't all live in London or the big cities anymore. And lots of other people live in our random little towns and villages as well.
Yes, as the person who lives in the middle of the country and helps organise 3 northern BSides.
Bit odd, we'll let that one go. Awesome. Well, is there anything else that I haven't asked you about that you wanted to share or mention?
No, I think, the big thing is this: if you can't find one, build one. It's the huge thing. And the more we work together, the better we are as an industry, ultimately. So those networks are so important. And if you are worried about going and think, oh my God, it's going to be full of clicky people, or I have to know 15 different flavors of code, or have been in the industry for my whole life and before I was born, don't worry about it. There will be lovely people there who want to meet you, want you to have a nice time, and you'll get great stickers and swag, and possibly harassed by my child.
Yeah.
For charity.
I love the idea of cyber curious, though. That's my main takeaway from this conversation. And cyber curious is where all of our next hires are currently sitting, because we all need to think slightly more laterally when we're looking at making hires. So
not just students, just students. I love hearing stories from people where they're coming from other industries. Yeah, and there's definitely a lot of skills that you can kind of bring in, and there are things that you can learn. So curiosity is key.
Excellent. Well, thank you ever so much for joining us on the podcast today. Listeners, watchers, you've been listening and watching the Security Visionaries podcast. I've been your host, Emily Wearmouth. And if you've enjoyed this conversation, and I have loved this conversation, we've got whole loads in your back catalogue that you will enjoy. So go and have a rummage around. Last month's episode was celebrating 30th anniversary of the movie Hackers, looking at how hackers were depicted in Hollywood. And that one is well worth a catch up. So I will catch you next time. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.